morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the last day of 2021. Hope you all had a fantastic festive season and everyone's currently still in that crimbo limbo stage between, Christmas and New Year, which I have been very much appreciating, just like lazing, eating on any leftovers, drinking the rest of the wine. We must get through it until the new year, then we'll get the new stuff in. Of course, that's how it works. So I've been going through all of my stats. I've been keeping a spreadsheet all year so I can get some really detailed stats, because Goodreads, when I go on, it tells me I've read 12 books this year. Which is a lie, Goodreads, it's a lie! So we're gonna run through the book stats of the 216 books I read this year, and then we are going to do the reader survey, end of year survey, and I'll link down the blog post where the questions come from originally, of the original creator of this like tag survey thing. And I'll move over to the side so we can have some nice graphs and some pie charts. Very exciting. Okay, so in 2021, I read 216 books. This was my debut year of being like a heavy reader. Like, I've always read throughout my life, but I could go an entire year and pick up one book, if that sometimes. But I've always loved reading, and this year I really got into my own. I really went through different genres, found my place, and yes. But this year I really felt I came into my own as a reader, and yeah, it's only up from here. Once you get this bug, you get addicted, I can't stop reading as much as I do. I just won't be able to stop. So let's break down all of these books into paperback, hardback, Kindle, and audiobooks. So out of the 216, I read 26 paperbacks, which actually I was really surprised at, but there is a reason for this, I'll explain later. I read 9 hardbacks, 143 Kindle/ebooks, which isn't surprising because of Kindle Unlimited, and 38 audiobooks. I looked at the paperback one, I was like, that's really low, but then I remembered that a lot of the time I'll pick up the audiobook, especially if it's on script, even if I have the paperback, because maybe I'm out and about or I'm doing something around the house and I'll listen to it, but it's been on my shelf for ages and I'm wanting to get to it. That's why the paperback number is pretty low. Also, sometimes when I've read ebooks or listened to the audio, and then I'll find them in a charity shop and then I'll add them to the shelf. So that's where we're going. I still have an ungodly amount, as you saw, like at the start of December, where I go through all of my 170 unread books. We don't need to talk about that though. See, it's not surprising that I read more ebooks than anything else because of Kindle Unlimited. It's just too easy, it's so easy, and it's all like completely, included every month. So I have shelves of books, like I said, of books I really want to read, but it's just so easy when you're on Kindle, and then it'll recommend another one, and maybe it's part of a series, and you know what I mean? You just kind of get into this whirlwind with Kindle Unlimited where you're like, okay, that one, yeah, and that one, and then you forget about the fantastic collection you have curated. Pages read. I read 55,037 pages this year. That's a lot. So I broke it down, and when it comes to audiobooks, I listened to 354 hours of audiobooks, which goes by in half the time because obviously I listen to them normally either at 1.8 or 2 point speed. 2 times speed, not 2 point speed, 2 times speed. Focus, Ali. So if we break it down per day, I read on average around 150 pages per day, which then equates to just over 4 books per week that I'm getting through. So let's have a look at my star ratings. I've got them all up here. I do half stars, but we'll go through the main ones. I gave 42 books 5 stars this year, which isn't too bad. That's what, 20% or something? I gave 62 books 4 stars. I gave 67 books 3 stars. 19 books 2 stars, and only 1 book 1 star, but you all might remember that one. So it's no surprise really that my average rating across all the 216 books was 3.5 stars, almost exactly. If we go month by month, my worst month of reading was January, but that was because I was still in that I read now and again. I'll read a couple of books here and there throughout the month. I just started, later in 2020, when I restarted getting into more books and trying to push myself to read more. But then we started off the year, I read Fellowship of the Ring, and yeah, that was the only book I read in January, and that was an audiobook, and I really struggled to get through it. I think it put me in a bit of a slump, to be honest. My best month was March with 33 books. That's when we started to peak. So let's do the shortest and the longest. The shortest book I read was actually a recent read, The Naughty List, a little bit of Santa Smut I read for Vlogmas, and that was by Ellie McGregor, and that was 56 pages. The longest book, and I actually had to double check because I didn't realise it was this long, The Crescent City novel House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas, which is 803 pages. But from here, it looks like a chunky hardback, but it looks like a hardback, and I had to double check, and my goodness, yes. 803 pages. That's my longest book this year. Okay, so let's jump into the survey. Oh, I'll stay here because we have books to show you, okay? Sorry if I'm looking down, it's just got everything laid out on my Evernote, all very, very neat. Now, I'm gonna skip past the first 2 questions because we've already answered them, how many books I read and how many pages. So, the next one on that is the most read genre, and it has to be romance. I have discovered that I absolutely adore romance. Not contemporary romance, discovered that, but dark romance, paranormal romance, fantasy romance. Yes, the darker and grittier and more adult, the better. You know, give me all the spice, all the darkness and all the spice. That is what I've learned that I like this year, and that makes me so insanely happy. My favourite 2021 release has to be, and this is the perfect time to show it off, has to be Kingdom of the Curse by Kerry Maniscalco. We all know by now, you know, if you want a full spoiler reading vlog, it is on my channel. It's the perfect time to show you this copy. You're thinking, oh Ali, that looks a little bit different. It's the Fairy Loot edition. It came like 3 days before Christmas. Okay, I'm gonna show it to you. Beautiful, the front, gorgeous. Bitch. What? That's not even though it's pretty, like, look at those sprayed edges. We have the signed book plate, which I need to put in. I'll just pop that on the side now. Wait. So it's gorgeous. It's fabulous. The stencil, the sprayed edges, amazing. Wait, it gets better and better. We come inside. Look at our girl. Look at our girl. She is beautiful. And there is nothing on the back. But then we have this gorgeous goddamn art piece on the dust jacket. What? Oh, my husband, there he is, and our girl, Amelia. Look at how beautiful that is. Oh my God, so happy. You have no idea how long I just sat and stared at this book, and then stared at that art, and then stared at the silver front cover, and then the stencil. Oh, it's just so beautiful. Anyway, sorry, I had to do a little bit of a show off. We're gonna get through these questions, but yes, Kingdom of the Curse. That was my favourite 2021 release. It has to be. I can't put anything above it. Favourite older title that you read in 2021? Because this is the year I'm really getting into my reading a lot more. It's actually kind of difficult because I'm reading a lot of older books, not that old. But probably one that's like such a almost cult favourite that I'm so glad I get to read for the first time, and that's the Black Dagger Brotherhood. So Dark Lover is book number 1 by J.R. Ward, and this came out in 2005, and I'm so enjoying the series so far. I got to book 3, so book 4 is next, obviously, because that's how numbers work. So yeah, I've got to say, for an older series that's very well loved, I'm really glad I get to read it like for the first time and share this with you, so yeah, this one, why not? A book that lived up to the hype. Now, it's a duet, and they've only recently been released this year, but the hype when people were receiving arcs, and I waited for the second one to come out because they'll both be on Kindle Unlimited, don't want to be left with a hangover. Well, that, and I never want to be left with a hangover. I didn't want to be left with like a cliffhanger, so I waited for the second book to come out, and that is There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark. Totally worth the hype. However, the first like 15%, 20% or something, I was in a reading slump, so I was like, am I enjoying this? And then bang, it just like sucked me in suddenly, and I binged both books like back to back, could not put them down. Totally worth the hype. About 2 serial killers, absolute psychopaths. One, they're both artists, like competing artists. Our heroine, she's an artist, love her to bits. The games they play, they both take an interest in her. It's not a love triangle, do not worry. Oh, I'll talk about my wrap up in December, but this one is definitely worth the hype. A book that didn't live up to the hype. Finally get to rant. The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I DNF this at 50%, which is why I haven't really talked about it, because I don't feel, it's kind of, I don't know, I feel weird only reading 50%, but I was so enraged. I was so enraged. Why do people like this book? I don't get it. I don't get it. And apparently the spicy scene later, I read some quotes from it, and oh, it sounded bad. I'm so glad I stopped. This one is like fake dating. It's like a professor and a woman, and she just kisses him randomly, doesn't realize who she's kissing and all that, just so she can show her friend, her best friend apparently, that she is completely over this guy she dated because she wants her friend to date him. If she's your best friend, sit down and fucking tell her. You don't have to randomly kiss a guy. Anyway, so that happens, and then for reasons they start to fake date because it'll help both of them. But it's so bad, like you're fake dating, and her friend was like, aren't you gonna go sit on his lap then? Or aren't you gonna go up and kiss him or hug him? And she was like, I don't. And I'm like, woman, pull yourself together. You're meant to be fake dating. Go and kiss him. Even if it's just a peck on the lips. Do something. This fake dating, you're terrible at it. Both of you are awful. Oh, I was so enraged. It just made no sense. Things were happening, and then a miscommunication. Sorry, I'm not breathing. I wanted to get this off my chest. There was the miscommunication trip. I saw coming when they were in the cafe, and someone overhears. I knew it was coming, and when it happened, I literally slammed my phone down because I was listening to it on Audible. I was like, I I can't fucking listen to this anymore. This is so frustrating, this book. It's so bad. The characters are awful. No. Biggest reading accomplishment. I tried to find like a huge book or a book that I really struggled to get through but finally finished and I was happy about it, but I really couldn't. So I'm actually going to use this question, and my biggest accomplishment is discovering who I am as a reader, what I really like, and then liking it unapologetically. Like, we've had so much fun on this channel reading all sorts of smut, romance, all sorts of stuff, and it's been so much fun. And when I first started to get into more romance and then I started reading like Ice Planet Barbarians, like, I did not want to put that on my Goodreads. Never told you. I was like, do I put that on? Like all of my Goodreads now is just shut. There's just abs for days, and I love it. That's how I know I'm getting a good book. If there's plenty of abs, I'm a book, pick it up. It's a book for me by the sounds of it. Now I'm just like, I read whatever I want to read. I don't care. And I will share that with the world. Yes, because I've like got into this like the romance community on YouTube and book talk and all that, and it's so much fun. It's so great. So yeah, finding what I love to read and reading it and loving it unapologetically. Favorite character. This is hard. There's so many characters I've really enjoyed, but it's probably one of my most recent reads, which is Lover Awakened by J.R. Ward. This is the third book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, and we follow Zadist and Bella. Zadist, the anxiety I felt in this book, honestly. This almost made it to my top 10 of the year. That'll be coming out next year, but it didn't, for reasons. It might get an honourable mention, but Zadist, why is it about a really damaged hero that then, like, the whole time I was reading this, I don't want to give things away. Like, he's so scarred and messed up, and his past is awful. Like, oh god, I can't wait for the wrap up so we can really deep dive into this. Because it was a really good book, and it opened up a lot for the next book. It's probably a bit too much. I was like, can we get back to Bella and Zadist, please? The things he went through, and the whole time I was like, he needs to do more if this is gonna work, and they're gonna get their HEA, which they will, like when, like it was getting really close to the end, I'm like, oh no. Have you ever read books where they leave the conclusion too close to the end and it's like rushed? One example of that is Dark Desires After Dusk by Chrisley Cole. Hated the ending. Didn't care, felt really bamboozled with that one. Anyway, but then when we get that epilogue, Sadist, I love him. It ended perfectly. I cried, and then I burst out laughing, and then I wanted to cry some more. I've read that epilogue so many times. Just that epilogue, when, I'm not gonna say anything. I love Sadist. Least favourite characters. This one is difficult. Probably both the main characters from 365 Days. Gave this book 2 stars. I thought it was absolutely terrible. And I really, especially the female, the heroine, didn't like her at all. I only read this out of pure curiosity. I was like, wait a minute, it's Mafia, Captor, Captive, Captive, yes. I was like, I'm just gonna read it because I love me a Mafia book. I've read plenty of Captor, Captive books as well. Then I read it, I was like, no. Now they were right. This is awful. And I've read the reviews of book 2. I'm not gonna read it. So yeah, both the characters from this, especially the female one, whatever her name was. Oh god, I just remember, I was like, how can I not like either of you at all, equally? I'm feeling like a giant dum-dum right now because clearly the worst character I read in 2021 was the father from The Wild by Kay Webster. How could I forget about him? Our lovely dad of the year. Probably the worst character I've ever read. How could I not? So I'm just gonna leave both in. You can have a double whammy of characters I don't like, but oh my god. How could I forget him? Book with the most surprising moments. I've got to go on what I felt at the time. I've got to say the ending of Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer Armentrout, which is book 2 in the From Blood and Ash. It's book 2 in the Blood and Ash series. Probably the ending to this because I was just like so mouth open, could not believe what was going on. How dare you end a book like that? Shame they went on to book 3 and did absolutely nothing. Never mind. But yeah, probably the end of this book. Oh, this one's difficult. Favourite writing of the year. I've read some great books like that have really nice writing, and I've read some books that have absolutely awful writing. So I'm gonna go for this one simply because I've brought up this series a couple of times now, but it's something I think about every time I read one of the books, that the world building feels so well done. I was gonna pick Chrisley Cole because I enjoy her writing in the Moors After Dark series. However, the Black Dagger Brotherhood books, it's just, I love, every time I'm reading them, I'm like, this world building's great. You're giving me plenty of time with these side characters, which is obviously setting up a lot of stuff that's going on in future books. But you're not taking away the spotlight from our main couple and our main storyline, but you're giving me enough to have intrigue around all of these characters. And I'm learning so much, and I'm having a great time about it. So I'm actually going to pick J.R. Ward's series because it's just a good time. And the writing's great. It's just the world building. It's fantastic. Oh, so this year, a book you pushed the most people to read. It's got to be a toss-up between... There are two books which I've not shut up about really. Well, there's been a few, but depending on... But it's a lot of people like messaging me on Instagram and in the comments on YouTube and stuff that I think these two are the biggest ones that I've influenced people to read, and that is From Blood and Ash, because once I got on the bandwagon and read the first two books, I was like, ah! If only I'd have read the third book, then I wouldn't have been so... We're not gonna sit here and bash the series of where it's going. 6 books, it's fucking stupid. 5 books, well, one's gonna be from Castle Point. Anyway, so either this one or It's Oblivion by Danielle Laurie, because when I say it's like slow burn, super high sexual tension, everyone messaged me, they were like, oh God, girl, you're right. Yeah, that was the sexual tension is, it's next level. So probably them 2 books. The book you'll be recommending the most, I don't know. Any of my top ones, really, I'll recommend people to read. If people like paranormal romance, then I'll recommend The Moors After Dark or Black Dagger Brotherhood. Or if you like a dark series, then I'm really enjoying Tilly Cole's Hades Hangman MC series, whatever it's called. Great, but super crazy dark, so many triggers, but fantastic. Want to get back into that next year, carry on that series. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just say what I like and certain tropes they have that you might like and to check it out, but I generally don't like push people like, you must read this, you know, because everyone's different. Favourite newly discovered author? It was a toss-up. It is either Kresley Cole, because I really do enjoy her writing, or it's Gianna Darling. Even though I won't read all of her books, some of her books just don't sound like they're for me. And actually one of her books is going to end up on my worst books of 2021. And I hate to put her there. She is like so sweet. She always replies to my message on Instagram. She shares like all of her followers like fan art and story mentions like all the time. She's constantly reposting and her writing is great. She wrote the Anti-Heroes in Love duet, which, you know, when heroes fall, when villains rise, adored that duet. And she wrote those, so yeah. Her, Kresley Cole, I do like J.R. Ward, a lot of fun. Yeah, let's stick with that. Oh, and Kerry Maniscalco, I do enjoy her writing. Funny though, thinking about it, where is this video going? I don't know. If I read Kingdom of the Wicked now, would I enjoy it? I don't think I would. But that's a discussion we can have when book 3 comes out. But I do like, especially in Kingdom of the Curse, I do enjoy Kerry Maniscalco's writing a lot. Favourite cover? Okay, I just scroll through my Goodreads, like just to look at just covers. And it has to be Rejected by Jamin Eve, because it's the Shadow Beast Shifter series thing, trilogy. And I just adore this cover. I want to own this trilogy because I did really enjoy the trilogy. But this cover is, it's why I picked it up. This sold me. I saw that, I was like, yes. Who is he? Turn around. A book that made you cry the most. That has to be Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. Oh my God. I literally sobbed so hard, like full on ugly crying. Got myself together. Was like, right, come on, let's start the day early. Let's have a shower. Got in the shower and had a breakdown because I remembered it again. This book destroyed me. It is not a romance. Putting that out there, this is not a romance book. It is a book about a family of children and they live in some horrific conditions. And basically the 2 eldest, boy and girl, can't remember their names now, brother and sister, it's a story about incest because they fall in love with each other and stuff like that. And it's not a romance, again, repeating, it is the most heartbreaking story I've ever fucking read. You will cry. It's, oh, fuck. It is gut-wrenching, this story, but be warned. I don't know about what, but be warned. A book that made you laugh the most. Oh, easy one. Easy, because this one had me belly laughing, and that's A Funny Life by Michael McIntyre. I only read this, I think this was November, non-fiction November. So I read this in November when it first came out, and I mean, if you love him, you're gonna love this. and I was literally either giggling or full on belly laughing throughout the entire book. It was fantastic. And that is his second memoir. Favourite reread has to be Souls Unfractured by Tilly Cole. 100%, because this book guts me. Talking about like damaged heroes and really dark shit and like healing through with a loved one, because they've both been through horrific things. But you get to see Flame, this book 3 in the Hades Hangman MC thing series, and Flame is like the one, as you're reading books 1, 2, you're like, I need to know about this character like immediately, give me his book. And wow, yeah, I've read it twice. Second time I skipped over all the flashbacks of abuse and things like that, because once you've read it once, I don't really need to read it again. I know what happened to both of them, and it's horrific, and in detail on page what happened to them sexually as children. Oh fuck. But the journey these two take is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And it was just wonderful to see Flame and her, both of them healing together. So yeah, favourite reread. And I really want to do another reread of this again next year soon, because I just loved it. Okay, and the last one, a most surprising 5-star read. Now this was difficult, but I've got to pick Don't Kiss the Bride by Carrie Cole. So 2 reasons why this surprised me that it was a 5-star read. 1, Carrie Cole is completely hit or miss for me. I'll either really enjoy her books or I really won't. It's either a 2-star or a 5-star author for me, and I don't know why. And second, because it is age gap, that sometimes I can get the ick, or it's a bit too much, or it's not well written, and I'm not like vibing with, you know, the age gap. I enjoy an age gap. It's not something I go after, but if a book has it in, I'm like, okay, fine, I don't care. But this one was one of my favourite age gaps of all time. It is Marriage or Convenience, Friends to Lovers. Like, it gave me everything that I never thought I wanted, and it was a 5-star book, so I was really happy. So that's where we're gonna end this. I'm gonna love you and leave you. Like I said, hope you had a fantastic festive period, Christmas, whatever. Even if you don't celebrate Christmas, hope you had a lovely time. Hope your 25th of December was fantastic. And I hope we're all looking forward to the new year. One question, I was meant to ask this earlier, sorry, 2 seconds, stay with me. I'm going to do another Excel spreadsheet for next year for all my reading, but what other stats would you like? Like, should I note down what tropes each book has? And then we can calculate how many books I've read with those tropes or something. I want to get way more detailed next year, so please let me know down below. Anyway, loving, leaving, shutting up, subscribe, like, comment, share, all the fun stuff, do all of it, do none of it, doesn't matter, as long as you're happy, and I'll see you next year. Bye!